Joining us now with more, Republican presidential candidate and senator from Texas, Ted Cruz. Great to see you, Senator. So what of that message, in particular by Governor Christie, which is essentially man up, stop complaining, get out there and just debate?
Oh, listen, Megan, I think that's exactly right. You know, the three debates that we've done so far, I think have been terrific. And from my attitude is that I'm happy to debate any of the candidates anytime and anywhere. And I think that is a good thing for the Republican primary field, where we display the breadth and depth of the field and the terrific talent we have.
Are you signing on to this letter?
No, I'm not interested in signing on to a letter of demands. You know, the one point that I have made, and I've made it several times, is why is it that we have Republican primary debates that are moderated by liberal Democrats? Liberal Democrats moderate the Democratic debates and they moderate the Republican debates. I don't think that makes any sense. And the one rule change that I think the RNC ought to think about is saying that if you have never in your life voted in a Republican Party primary, that you shouldn't be moderating a Republican primary debate.
But let me challenge you on that. Do you have any idea whether Brett Baier or Chris Wallace have ever voted in a Republican primary?
I have no idea, and I'm guessing you may tell me whether Megyn Kelly has.
So neither do I. I have no idea, but I can tell you as a fact that those are two of the most fair, talented journalists in the business. So under your rule, they could potentially be excluded from anchoring a presidential debate.
Look, they could potentially. My guess is that they have voted in a Republican primary. I can certainly tell you that Chris Wallace and Brett Baier and Megyn Kelly are not liberals. And the reality is that most journalists at mainstream media stations are liberal Democrats.
But how would it work? Would we have to submit our voting records to you or some committee? I mean, we'd have to prove what primaries we voted in or didn't. Like, how would that really be impracticality?
It's not complicated. In a primary, don't have liberals moderating. Listen, I've suggested, what about Tim Russert?
He was a liberal. Obviously, you know, when Russert was alive, he was one of the most respected journalists. You wouldn't sit for a debate moderated by Tim Russert?
Megan, why not have? And listen, I'm happy to debate in front of anybody.
Right,
I go on MSNBC. I go on liberal shows all day long. But in a Republican primary debate, the object is to help primary voters decide who's the strongest conservative.
Let me shift to policy now for you, because you unveiled your tax plan recently, and you are calling for a flat tax, which is basically a 10% income tax, 16% business tax. And the critics of this plan say, well, it won't work because if you're going to do flat tax, you got to have at least a 20% tax across the board. Otherwise, you're not going to take in enough money to support the United States.
Well, listen, any critic who's saying that is not looking at the numbers, because I've put out the numbers. If you go to our website, tedcruz.org, you can see the exact numbers on the tax plan. My tax plan says that for a family of four, the first $36,000, you pay zero. No income tax, no payroll tax. Above that, everyone pays a flat tax of 10%. That means that billionaire hedge fund managers no longer pay a lower rate than their secretaries. And then the simple business flat tax of 16% applies across the board, so giant corporations no longer pay less taxes than small businesses. And those two simple flat taxes allow us to eliminate the payroll tax, to eliminate the corporate income tax, to eliminate the death tax, to eliminate the Obamacare taxes, and to enable every American to fill out his or her taxes on a postcard and to abolish the IRS. And the numbers are there.
Senator Ted Cruz, it's always fun talking to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Megan. God bless.